Hello everyone, welcome to Data Science Community. In today's lecture, we are going to learn about data analysis project for beginners. It is a beginner friendly project, okay, and I'm explaining this project from scratch. Okay, so for starting this project, let's understand what are the steps we need to follow for performing a data analysis. Okay, so our first step is understand objective. Okay, first we need to understand the objective of our analysis, okay, and collect data, clean data, analyze data, and insights. So these all steps we are going to follow in this project, or if we are performing any other data analysis project, these steps are must. Okay, so let's start our project. So this is the data set which we are using in this project. Okay, so here we have age, work class, education number, marital status, occupation, capital loss, capital gain, working hours, country, salary. So basically our goal is to find whether a person having salary less than 50k or greater than 50k basis on this attributes. Okay, so this was our data set, and you can notice one thing here, we have question mark instead of our null value, we have question marks here. So we need to handle this question mark before analyzing our data. Okay, so here I am using Jupyter Notebook for performing this project. This is my project file and this is my data set. I will provide the link in the description for both these files. You can go and download from there only. Okay, so this is our project, and the goal of this project is to analyze whether a person has an income of more than 50k a year. Okay, so first we need to import the important libraries. Okay, and for run this cell in Jupyter, you just click shift and enter. So this cell is run. Okay, so here we have numpy, pandas, matplotlib, and seaborn. We are using these libraries. If you are using if you are first time using Jupyter Notebook, maybe it will provide you a module not found error because maybe these libraries are not present in your Jupyter Notebook. So just click here, press A, and one cell is added here, and you just need to write exclamation mark with install numpy or whatever library you want to install, and just click shift enter. So it will start processing, but I already have this library, so it will give me an output as requirement already satisfied. Okay, if you don't have this libraries in your Jupyter Notebook, it will download it. Okay, so in next cell we are reading our CSV file. Okay, so using pd.read CSV, we can read our data file. So here we use pandas as pd. Instead of writing pandas, we can use pd for panda. For call pandas library, we can use here pd. Okay, so by using pd.read CSV, here we provide a file name. Okay, and just ensure that your project file and data file is in the same folder, otherwise it will provide you an error. Okay, so we just click shift enter to run this cell. Now your data file is loaded in this df variable. Okay, so if I write df.shape, I can run this cell, and here I found that 32561 rows and 13 columns is present in my data set. Okay, now by using this head function, I can load my top 5 rows of my data set, or you can load more rows by using this head function, but you need to mention number of rows which you need. Okay, so mention number of rows, click shift enter, and you found that all the rows, so I mentioned 10 here, so 10 rows will be printed on the output. Okay, so now our next function is info. Let's just run this function first. So info function basically used to find information about our data set. So here we have number of columns, and this is the name of each column, this is the rows of each column, and this was the data type of each column. Okay, and how much memory usage this data set takes is mentioned here. Okay, so our next step is we need to clean this data. So for cleaning this data, first we need to find whether any null value is present in this data set or not. Okay, so for that we use isNull function. No any value present in this data set, that's why it is shown here as 0. Okay, so now as we see that our data set is containing this question mark instead of null value. Okay, here we can see that in our country column we also have this question mark sign. Okay, or in our occupation also we have this question mark sign, and so we need to remove this question mark and insert a valid value instead of that question mark. So we just run this and find that we use value count function which we use to find whether how many categories is present in our data set or in a particular column. Okay, so here we also have this question mark sign, and in occupation we also have this question mark sign. Because we have so many rows having question mark sign, we cannot drop this value or just delete this value. We need to replace this value. So for that we use replace function. So this is a string function, so and our nan is not a string function. Okay, so for that we need to first change this string to a particular numeric function. So for that I use replace function and replacing this question mark with 0. In place is true, we use this in place equals to true for replacing this value in our data set permanently. Okay, and now I need to replace this 0 with an nan value so that I can use this fill function. This function makes my work easier to replace this value nan value with mode of that particular column. Okay, so here I can run this value, and now you can use this isNull function to find null value. It will now print that. Okay, now you can see the null values in our data set. Okay, so now I want to replace this nan value with the mode of a particular column. Okay, mode means the category which is most repeatedly used in that column is present in this will replaced by this nan value. Okay, so just replace this value with mode of that column. Okay, now we can check. So here we can find that there is no question mark is present now. Okay, so now let's see what is this drop function. So in this data set I don't need education and relationship for the analysis of my data, so I just drop these columns. Okay, and here I write xs1 because this xs1 represent columns. Okay, and xs equals to 0 represent rows. Okay, so I need to delete or drop these columns. That's why I write here x is equals to 1, and here we use replace equals to true because we need to replace the value in a data set. So for that we need to mention in place equals to true. If you don't want to use this, so okay, if you don't want to use this, you can just remove this from here, and but you need to write df equals to this. Okay, so but this will give an error because I just run the program previously. Okay, so the value is already these columns is already changed, but you can also use this function. Okay, so it will again give an error because these columns are already removed from the data set. Okay, so that's why the key error was here, that education relationship are not found in access because these columns are already dropped. So don't worry about that. Okay, so dot columns print the name of the columns which we have in our data set. Okay, so here we have age, work class, education number, marital status, occupation, sex, and capital gain, capital loss, work hours per week, country. Okay, so another important method is rename. We need to rename, sometimes we need to rename our columns. So here I replace the sex with gender. Okay, the column sex. Okay, as you can see here we have a column named as sex. I need to replace this column name with gender, so I can use rename function. Okay, so here I use rename function, and here I need to mention the column name, previous name of the column and new name of the column, and we need to write replace equals to true. Okay, and you just run this, so your column name is replaced. If you want to check, you can rerun this line and you can find that gender is present here. Okay, so now let's see what this describe function done. Okay, so this describe function describe the numerical columns present in this data set. It will provide the count, mean of that columns, standard deviation of that column, minimum value for that columns, and here we have 25% values, 50% value, and 75% values, which is quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. And here we also have this maximum value for each column. Okay, if you want to find the describe function for a particular column, you need to mention the column name here and does dot describe function, and you can run this, so you can find that we have this described statistical summary. It is also known as statistical summary of the data. Okay, so that's how you can get the statistical summary of a particular column. Okay, now we need to analyze our data. Okay, so for that, first we use age. So here I use plt.figure. So you can see that we mentioned here plots as plt and seaborn library as SNS. So here we are using seaborn libraries and matplotlib plots. Okay, so I'm using this figure size is 8,4, and here I'm using histplot, which is histogram. So here I'm using histplot, and the name of my column is age, and color of my graph is green, and bins is 15. Okay, and I want my grid line to be visible, that's why I'm writing here grid true, and this was the title of my plot. And if you want to print the plot, you need to write this plot.show function. Now we can run this and find that we have 15 bins here, and the color is green. We have grid lines, we have title. Okay, so that's how you can use, and you can find that the people of different age group present in our data set. Okay, so we have 40, 30 and 40. We have maximum number of people having age between 30 and 40. Okay, so now I want to plot my histogram of age and salary. Okay, we need to find so here we get that the people having age less than 20 is not having any salary and or does not have salary greater than 50k. Okay, only the people between 22 to 45, we can take 45. Okay, so the people between 22 to 75 having the salary greater than 50k. Okay, now on the basis of work class, here we use count plot. Okay, and this was the colors which I'm using. Okay, you need to mention this color in this count plot function. Okay, and here we have, if you want to rotate this x-axis data labels, if you want to just rotate this, you can write x tricks equals to rotation equals to 47. If I write 45 here, so it will looks like this. Okay, so you can rotate it according to you if you want to, and you can find that the maximum people having salary greater than 50k belongs to private sector. Okay, and our next plot is for occupation. So by seeing this plot, you can find that the people which are handler cleaners having the maximum salary. Okay, so by using this plot we can find that the handler cleaners having salary above 50k, okay, as compared to other occupations. Okay, so on the basis of gender, okay, so by seeing this plot we can find that on the basis of gender, the maximum males were having the salary greater than 50k. Okay, here we also use this count plot. Okay, so now if you want to find capital loss, so between rupees 0 to 2000, if you are facing the loss of between 0 to 2000, then your salary will be greater than 50k. Okay, basically your savings. Okay, so now on the basis of working hours, but our working hours in a form which present in a form of integer, so we need to, you can see that our working hours is an integer value, so we cannot plot the graph on integer values. Okay, so we can plot a graph on integer values, but in this case it will show nothing on a I can show you. If I just run this, there is no plot. Okay, it is blank. Okay, so first we need to convert these values to the string values. Okay, so the value which is less than 40, so we can write it less than 40 hours working. Okay, and LF, the value is equals to 40, then we can consider it as 40 hours, or the value less than 40, greater than 40, we can rewrite it as greater than 40 hours, and you just run this. Okay, now I can run this. In this line I replaced these values in my original data set. Okay, now you can plot the graph and you can find that the people who is working more than 40 hours per week is having a larger salary. Okay, and our last graph is on the basis of country. Okay, so you can clearly see that the people of United States are earning more as compared to other countries. Okay, so I hope this whole project is clear to everyone. So thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe for more such videos.